questions like, what is the goal of the program? And can we communicate that goal to the community, preferably sometime super soon, so that they know what we're up to? Do we have a mission and vision for this program? Are we about taking students to DVC so that when they finish their 12th grade year, they're now DVC students? Are we planning on using this as a program that supports them going to four-year universities? Or is this a plan where we would hope that they would be done with DVC at the end of their 12th grade year and then move on to something else, whether it was a four-year or a career? Right? And can we communicate these things to the community as well? When I was looking at this and trying to do the math problem in my head of a 0.5 FTE teacher and a 0.1 admin and a 0.1 counselor for the $73,000 cost, I was trying to figure out where that was, because all of the contract language talks about one full-time equivalent, and then in the fall of the following year, 2 full-time equivalents. And I realized it was because we're not starting until next spring. So then my question was, so are we taking an existing teacher from somewhere halfway through the year and putting them in, or is this a mid-year hire and someone who's only going to have a half-year job the first year? I was so excited. My question was, if I'm going to be talking to other teachers about this, how did they apply for it? Right? What is the application going to be for someone who can come be a middle college instructor with our district? A question to consider, is it worth the cost? Because while it says $73,000 here, when the program is fully implemented, it will cost us $292,000 a year at 2 FTE and 0.4 admin and 0.4 counselor. And is it worth that cost for us? Also, and for me, most importantly, in all of my thinking, and the reason why I was mulling this around in my head all day today, will this program be administered equitably to the students of our district? I know it's an easy shot to walk across the street from College Park High School to DVC, but I would hate to think that the only students that were going to get a chance to participate in this program were College Park students. I'm hoping that our application process the entire way is completely open to every single student in our district so that they all have an equitable opportunity to participate in this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Reynolds.
That was my first comment at the time, Mr. Reynolds, it'd be open to everybody. And as far as the impact on students, all of the above. Get them out fast, get them into DVC as soon as they graduate, or have them go right off to a four-year college. It's all of those things, because as we all know, all kids don't need the exact same things, but we want it to be terribly successful for all of them to go there.
So,
Terribly successful.
okay. Before, I had a question in regards to student eligibility. Will the students have to have a certain GPA to be selected?
I know right now they're looking at the different models to see what the requirement, how they will look at the admission, and I know that we immediately discussed having it across the district, but we have not landed on whether there will be a specific GPA. Other middle colleges have asked for GPA, or at least a minimum of a 2.0, something like that. But I don't have the answer yet because it's still in development.
I think it might be helpful at this point just to mention who is working on the development of that so that people know.
Yes, Chris Holleran, who is the assistant superintendent of our high schools, has been part of the lead team. Stephanie Roberts as well has been working with DVC, and I think they've had 2 meetings now with DVC, and now we are widening that group. We also have the task force group that was a product of our joint meeting that is also in conversation around this and supporting it. And as we go further, we have included DVC support staff there, and are going to continue to share the information as we continue to work on it.
So how many students would be expected to be enrolled when it's fully implemented at the $293,000 a year?
I would, the first year, in the first semester, we're looking at 30, and that would be one class, and so then we would build it up to 60. And Chris Holleran has some of the specific details on the numbers and the FTE and what the support staff would look like, and specifically even what that 0.1 and the 0.5 means.
He's just happy to stand up. Finally. Yeah.
President Hanson, members of the board, Superintendent Meyer, and members of the audience, this program will generate ADA. There is specific ed code language about middle college programs. Students are required to attend 180 minutes a day of high school classes, for which the district gets compensated at a 3/4 rate of ADA. So let's just say we were getting 10,000 a student. We're not, but let's just say we were for the sake of discussion. We would get 7,500 per student who is in that program. And actually at the 3/4 rate, that does cover the cost of the program. It's revenue neutral. It's not a moneymaker, but we're not taking a hit. The program capacity is slated to be in the range of about 60 students, 65 maybe. We are very concerned about making sure it's representative of the district, that every school gets equal access, and so there will be that monitored very strongly. And so it's our goal that every high school has the opportunity. When you think about it, that's roughly 12 students per school. And so we'll look at it at the school level, and then we'll monitor it at the site level. So our next step, we've received some feedback from our Associate General Counsel as to some additional language in the MOU. This is still definitely a draft. I noticed like the date was wrong, that kind of thing. That will all be fixed. We're having another meeting with our colleagues at the DVC in about 2 weeks. At that point, we hope to get pretty final language for both the appendix and the MOU.
Okay.
And I guess I'll just finish by saying, assuming that the MOU is agreed to by both groups, that in the fall we would begin our recruiting, and that we put out information to all the schools, that we would start hiring staff. It could be an existing staff member that transfers, it could be a new hire, that's to be determined. But the goal is to get a program up and running next spring.
So when you indicated that they, what was it, we get funded at 75% of the
Correct.
cost?
Mm-hmm.
So the 293,000 divided by 60 is about $5,000 a student. And so we receive more than that for our regular high school students in ADA. What is the current amount for our high school students?
Approximately 7.
And then, so we won't, but so we're losing $2,000 if the kids are enrolled in middle college rather than our regular programs per student.
Yes.
And their day, Chris, if you could share the length of their day?
Their day is 180 minutes of high school classes. The idea is that they take English, social studies, and a study skills elective. We expect, my experience in middle colleges is that high school students do need some extra support as they're taking college level classes. Many are able to navigate it fine, but they still have to take the DVC entrance exams. They get placed in DVC classes accordingly. The idea is that they're taking typically 3 DVC classes per semester, which would then give them the equivalent, there's the calculation in there of a 3-unit class equaling 5 high school credits, where they would get their 30 per semester of high school. They would also be getting 9 typically college credits. So if a student was in the program for 2 years, they would earn roughly 36 college credits by the time they graduated. So that would make them a sophomore in college.
And I shared the amount of time, and it's significant because they have 180 minutes instead of 240 minutes, which is the requirement for the high school student. So the requirement is less time, so that would involve fewer staff. So some of it balances it out with that particular requirement.
What I will do is I'll give a more complete budget estimate. I want to make sure we're working with numbers that are as accurate as possible. But I will include that in our next presentation.
But we do have the potential of losing, the word isn't losing, but reduced revenue of $120,000 to the district.
Yes,
Through
yes,
the program.
for the 60, for the 30 years.
I think the program is amazing. I have one student in particular that would have finished in 1 year. No. But anyway.
Yes. But we will make sure you get all that information so it's really clear as to what the cost would be to the district.
Because that cost would be spread across all of the high school students, right?
Yes.
The high school program. Because they're funded now that we're funded for elementary, middle, and high school.
At approximately 12 students per school.
So the concern that was raised about students being able to get to DVC, they participate at DVC 100% of the time, correct?
Yes.
They're not going to their home school other than if they want to participate in athletics or another type of program. So to ensure that all students have access to get there, have you thought about any kind of transportation, maybe in the form of offering bus passes?
Absolutely.
Kids who would need.
Sure. DVC is a transit hub.
Right.
So I think that's a real plus for students who need that service.